Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome to Dots of Destiny, friends. The retrogression of Saturn has already started, and many of us are already feeling the pinch of it by the mid of June. The retrogression of Saturn is a regular phenomena. Every year it happens. But the thing is that these 4 months, June, July, August, September, it is starting from actually 30th of June, July, August, September, October, half of November, 4.5 months. It seems to be like that. But the issue with Saturn is that it slows down, it starts slowing down for the retrogression. Roughly, I've always seen 1 month before, nearly 1 month before. So, if you have observed wherever Saturn is transiting in your horoscope at this moment of time, some slowdown has been felt right from the 1st of June. Though Saturn practically went retrograde just yesterday, 30th of June. That is how this slow planet works, and that is why the challenge is. Actually, retrogression, this is what I have seen every year with retrogression. That's what I'm speaking as of today. So it starts nearly 1 month before, and it becomes stationary direct. Saturn totally becomes stationary. Then it moves in a retrograde, which is obviously it's a visual phenomena. By now we know that it's not moving, it is not going. I mean, the relative motion of the Earth and Saturn is like that. It seems that Saturn is moving backward. Now, this Vakri movement, when it starts, that is also very slow. And then slowly, it picks up a little bit of space with the movement, the retrograde part I'm saying. Again, it becomes stationary retrograde, then it becomes direct. And the direct motion of Saturn will not be felt from 15th of November. It will be felt from 30th November or 1st December. So it is nearly, if you can take Saturn retrograde, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months. In my observation, it is like that. Maybe different people can have different observation. What I have seen is that every year, 6 months, I have felt the retrogression movement, 6 months, the direct movement on Saturn. It is, for me, it is very absolutely stark clarity is there for me. When it is retrograde, when it is direct. The slowdown of that area of life will happen. Now, it doesn't mean that that area is gone for a, toss. Totally, it's not like that. Yes, there are issues. They will be looking back. They will be dealing with the retrogression delays, hindrances. Work will not happen immediately. It will take again and again reconsideration, rechecking. In between, Mercury will go retrograde also, from Leo to from Cancer to Leo, again to Cancer, then Leo, then ultimately it will reach Virgo. So lot of things will be going on till the 15th of November. Rather, we can take by the end of November. Now, how to see retrogression is that the things we have taken up recently, wherever Saturn is concentrated at this moment of time in our horoscope, or even natally, will, if we have started on something new, it will ask for reconsideration. That is for sure. That thing which is new, anything, suppose you have started just in the month of May, it will see a roadblock ahead. It will not get a clearance. Green signal you will not see at this moment of time. Until you again go back in your mind, a retrogression movement will happen. You will reflect, you will see Saturn wants you to do that, and then things will start moving by the end of the year. In between, Jupiter also gets retrograde, so it will take time for those things. Then, but why retrogression? I have seen always with retrograde planets, there is sudden developments, sudden events which are not envisaged or not foreseen exactly. This is because retrogression or Vakri, that is a very, this kind of movement is a little weird for a planet. And actually, see, Sun is now just 5 signs away from Saturn, Gemini. At this point of time, whenever Sun and Saturn is 5 distance away, Sun is away from Saturn, it goes retrograde. And when Sun will reach Libra or nearly Scorpio, that is 9th from Saturn, Saturn will get direct. So there is a reason for the how these planets, when they're retrograde, they behave in a little weird manner, and certain tasks which you had been doing for a long time will suddenly reach a conclusion. That will also happen if it is regarding the house of your Saturn. Anything, not only Saturn, it happens whenever Saturn and Jupiter goes retrograde, especially the days when they are retrograde together. You will definitely see that a point of time will come when sudden things happen in your life which you had manifested, done, worked on, whatever term you can use, but that will happen because you have already put effort in those areas and you had expected the results to come, but it may not have happened. But this Vakri Graha will suddenly give you that result, and then you'll revisit the area. Actually, suddenly, suppose you have anything, 10th house work or anything you take, and suddenly you will recollect, okay, I need to, that was left quite behind and I have done quite a bit of it. Let me see if at this point of time I can do it, and immediately it can click. It will click. So there are two ways of retrograde. It is difficult. The energy, what I'm trying to say is that the energy is difficult, but the energy also brings in, it has to get settled a little bit. I'm not telling you these things will happen immediately in the month of July, but you will see as the retrogression movement takes its time and it gets into the normal retrogression, if you can call it normal. August, September, October will be different. It will give you some certain results which you had been, that work which you had been doing for quite an amount of time. You had put in the effort and all this, and you were waiting for some results to come out from that area. That will happen. So retrograde definitely gives sudden events, and at the same time, if you have started something relevantly new, then it requires a look back, chintan, manan. Don't procrastinate. You'll get certainly lazy because Saturn is a slow planet. If it is in a area where it is afflicting your Lagna Lord, your moon, or certain areas where you don't want to get up and work, don't procrastinate. It is a time like that also. Some delay, some kind of hindrances gives you a layback attitude. This will not happen at this point of time. But yes, reflection, redoing, patience, all these things are tested. But I feel there is a way of Saturn actually. When has not Saturn tested patience from us? Recollect and tell me. But this is my experience with the planet, whether it's direct, 6 months direct, I call it roughly like that, 6 months direct, 6 months retrograde. Studying astrology, it's a learning process for me, and I feel it like this, that Saturn has always given redo things, even in direct motion also. But yes, retrogression is a little bit of delayed, which is a little long stretched. Natal retrogression is a little different. It takes time to understand the process, but transit retrogression is actually reflecting back and seeing the tasks that you have taken up, that is it the way it should be continued, what you want to implement new into it, what has to be done regarding it, because Saturn wants a detailed overview work. It's not like Mercury, Mars and all these planets, very fast movement, action oriented. It takes a lot of time. It has a lot of time, so much, 30 years to travel 12 zodiacs. So it is a slow planet. We have to deal with it in a slow and patient way. So let's see, because July month has another thing is that though now sun is in Mercury has already entered Cancer, Venus will also very fast by 8th of July it will go into Cancer zodiac, and sun will also. So Cancer will have a spotlight. So wherever Cancer is in your horoscope, it is having ingress of Sun, Mercury, Venus. Saturn is in Aquarius, and Mars will join Jupiter 12th of May. That deserves a different video definitely, because Mars transits I feel are very important, and wherever it is transit it affects that, especially if you are a fiery sign, which I myself am. I've seen that again and again. It has happened with me, the transit of Mars, irrelevant of whether I have a dasha antardasha, it affects me. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, if you're a Cancer ascendant, if you're a Pisces ascendant, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries ascendant, all these Mars is a very important. I mean, these are the 6 zodiacs which I feel that should always look out for the Mars transit, and that is a very important transit that will happen in July with Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. So that is a later video I'll put in next week. As of now, let us see how this July month of Saturn retrograde and 3 planets in Cancer helps us in whichever way, in whichever sectors of our life. Let us go into the ascendants. For Aries ascendant, Saturn is there in your 11th house, and now it is retrograde in the month of July, and the 3 planets like Sun, Venus and Mercury is in your 4th house of Cancer. 2nd house will see Jupiter and Mars in this month. So see, basically your attraction or your mind will be going towards money matters, project completion. Home environment will be nice, because Sun is a good planet for you. Venus and Mercury in the 4th house. It is good. It's a nice area, and you can have a nice time at the home front, can feel light and cheered up. These things can happen. You can feel emotionally attached to your have some nice communication with your mother, and you can get us a little bit of time for yourself as far as the home is concerned. But Jupiter, Mars in the 2nd house is also in the month of July, will also, make new, because Lagna Lord going into the 2nd house, no, and it is free of affliction from Saturn also now. Though the Lagna is not free, Saturn is afflicting the Lagna, but still Mars going into Taurus gives a, monetarily it's a good time for the 2nd house. If you want to add some more income, some savings, if you want to do, you are planning something about the family, some good feeling, because Jupiter and Mars are friends, and when they sit together in a house, but though this arrangement is a more of income generative arrangement, or rather money fulfilling arrangement, suddenly money coming in, you sell some property, because 8th lord is also Mars, some money adding on to your benefits, these things can happen. Retrograde Saturn, it tells you not to stretch yourself too much in monetary matters, because it is the 11th lord, the 10th lord also, and as it retrogrades, we find that Saturn also affects the 10th house. In retrogression, it always affects a house before that, so it is also, the Saturn is the ruler of it. Now, so here retrogression can slow down some of the, if you're especially in a business kind of a thing, your monetary sudden influx, if you have that kind of a speculative things or certain like that, then that can, trim down. You can feel some sluggishness from your networking circle. You can feel that as the progresses were going, it is not heading as fast, or it is taking more time, or a sudden slowdown of the 11th house matters can be felt. The axis is 5 and 11. So 5th house, because Saturn is also afflicting the 5th house, which is Leo house. So some issues with your, if you're doing in a investment scheme, share market, all these things, problems or delays can happen. Children can sometimes, because see, sun is also in Cancer, emotionally they can feel a little low. That can happen because sun in Cancer, though in the 4th house, but it's digshunyam, and also the Cancer sign is quite a watery sign for a fiery planet like sun. So the focus can be on children if you're running a dasha antardasha of sun or something. But if your dasha antardasha is related with Saturn and Mars, Rahu is in the 12th house and Rahu is transiting Uttar Bhadrapada. Yes, gains will happen because it is transiting Saturn's nakshatra, but not immediately. As I told in Rahu's video, that now is a little sluggish time for shortcoming gains. That if you suppose you have a business or you have some extra income or something other than property related matters which Mars holds, the 8th house, the 10th and the 11th house factors will obviously feel quite slow. But again, the thing is that when sun comes into Leo in the August month, situation will be little better, though Mars is well placed, Lagna Lord well placed. If it is so, then it gives quite a boost. It gives. So it is overall a mixed month. Some delays, some things will be felt by the Aries people, but when Lagna Lord is out of affliction, it is a very good time actually. So see how the month pans out. Hope it is a good time for you. Taurus Lagnam. Taurus people, Saturn is your it is the 10th lord and it is getting retrograde in the 10th house also. Now, Saturn is a yoga karak planet for you. We all know that. The retrogression of Saturn, first and foremost, is that 10th house matters, which may had been going quite smoothly, and I have got some feedback from Taurus people. It was really going good, especially if they, because Rahu is also in the 11th house. Now you will see some slowdown in these areas. It is inevitable, and you may get more responsibilities because Saturn will teach you something in this period of retrogression till November, and you have to learn slowly with the process. The work pressure can feel burdened, can feel sluggish, can feel not interested in, a little slowdown, cannot get the support of the boss. That can happen. These things are there. The bhagya factor, because Saturn, whenever it is retrograde, it also is having it is affecting the house before to that also. It's your bhagya house. So Capricorn, Aquarius, both will be affected by the retrograde motion of Saturn. Now, Mars is on the Lagna. The problem with Mars being on the Lagna is that it gives a suddenness, and 8th Lord and 11th Lord Jupiter is also on the Lagna. Do not be very, you can start something, but don't be in a rush to complete things because it will not happen. Though Mars and Jupiter placement is good, but Mars is also the 12th Lord and Jupiter the 8th Lord. Check on your health is very, very important at this point of time. So because see, your 3rd house, Cancer, will see Sun, Mercury, Venus. Maybe you'll get into short distance journey. That can happen. Long distance, short distance, things can happen. But if you put in effort also, the quality of the effort you put in and the things you get back in retrograde Saturn is hell and heaven difference. It is not the right time actually. So go slow. For you, 100%, the solution is going slow. You have to be a little patient. Why little? Quite a lot of patience is required. Though Rahu is well placed, Saturn is well placed, but retrogression means some slowdown is definitely going to happen. So this you will experience in the month of July. 3rd house is good. You can engage in some activity which can give you some kind of a boost up. Pressure, because in the 10th house the area will be pressurized, so you maybe you need some, some extracurricular activities can relieve you of this pressure in the 10th house, because retrograde Saturn in the 10th will give some, some tension, some overworking things, some late works, more responsibilities, less recognition, all this. Some contemplation about the 10th house is very much required at this point of time. So, and obviously this Leo house, your fourth house, is getting the retrograde drishti of Saturn and Mars also. So if your mother health, if at all it is there, any issues is there, keep it under check. Don't have a quarrel with your family. Go easy, and that will be a better month. See, you are seeing good months. Jupiter is also well placed in Rohini on the Lagna. You'll get guidance, but this month is not exactly the rearing month to go. It is not like that. This is a slow month, so you have to go with the space. That is the thing. Okay, Gemini. For Gemini, Saturn is getting retrograde in the 9th house, and Rahu is there in the 10th house in Saturn's nakshatra. Jupiter has gone into your 12th house, and also Mars now from the 11th will go into the 12th house. So some expenses first and foremost is seen, and some delays with your fortune is also very clearly seen. As Saturn goes retrograde in the 9th house, it always have an effect in retrogression in the previous house, as in a phenomena it seems like the planet is going backwards. Now 8th house is also sudden events, so 12th house, 8th house getting activated, and Mars and Jupiter being in the 12th, though your second house sees an influx of planets like Sun, Venus and Mercury in the Cancer sign. So you can feel some emotion things at home, some good things at home. Your Lagna Lord is in the second house. So that way it is a good in the second house matters. You can enjoy food, you can enjoy some, get together at your home, some pleasantries being, exchanged at home. It's a nice time at the home front. But, Rahu is also in a good position only in the 10th house, but yes, some kind of change is waiting to happen. That's what I told you in Rahu's video also, that because it is in Uttar Bhadrapada and now Saturn is going retrograde, some kind of challenges with your Bhagya situation will happen. And challenges in the sense you will feel that this was going quite good. Now why this change is required at this point of time? That kind of a thing can happen. If you have planned foreign journeys, which may well happen because Jupiter, Mars both are in the 12th house, or anything or related to foreign like studies, going, issuing visas, something, you may be you're gearing to go or you're roaring to go, but Saturn being in the 9th house, a little delays is also seen with these things. From August it will pick up more because retrogression is now just started. The planet is very, very slow and it is not in its original condition at all. So things gets delayed, and that is why this patience test always happens with Saturn retrograde. But keep an eye and delve into details. Why it is retrograding is that certain things needs to be checked, and then you can move forward. So whatever area of your life, which is now basically the 10th and the 9th house and also the 12th house fully activated. So check out on your expenses. If you, because see, Mars, your 6th lord, it is in the 12th house. If you have taken loans, don't go too much with it. If because Jupiter is also, all the planets are aspecting Scorpio. Now the 6th house is very, very prominent also. The 12th house, the 12th and 6th axis very prominent. The 3rd and the 9th axis also prominent, because the 3rd house also Saturn's retrograde aspect is there. You want to put in effort, you want to do certain things, you want to get loans or for studies or for abroad or whatever it is. It can be a bit tedious during these months, especially in the month of July, August, September. By September, October, we get adjusted with the retrograde, how it is behaving. But if you had any previous things which you had already done, and it was, you think you had been waiting for the fortune, sudden some developments can happen if you are waiting for some fortunate things to happen at all. That can happen in this retrogression of Saturn. But one thing is that your Lagna Lord will also get retrograde after this transit of Cancer to Leo, again back to Cancer. So now it is kind of when Lagna Lord is retrograde, Saturn is also retrograde. That means a slowdown is seen definitely. If you hurry in this, then the 12th house, 2 planets are sitting, can give you, because it is your 11th Lord going into the 12th. Expenses can rise. That can surely happen. So this is second house is having planets, 12th house is having planets. You may want to save, you can earn, and but it may go into expenses of different kinds. So be slow. You have to be slow. There is no alternative about it, and wait for the right time, so that when Mercury is in good position after, because now if you take up any idea, you have to see when Mercury again retrogrades after going back to Leo, then it retrogrades back to Cancer. So you have to wait a little bit in the process of this, a waiting period. Basically, the planets arrangement are such, so a little bit July month is take meditative practices, yoga practices, all these things helps wonders when the 12th house is activated so much with Jupiter and Mars, or any healthy regime, because though both the planets are looking at your 6th house. But one thing is also there, because you are a Gemini ascendant, Mars is not at all a very good planet for you. So take care of your health. Sudden breakdown, sudden hurts, injuries can happen. These kind of things do happen with the Mars when it is in the 12th. But yes, Venus sign is earthy sign, not a bad sign, not a very fiery sign. It is earthy sign is good for Mars, but the 12th house is a little bit, you can feel that some loss of sleep, some tension, certain things piling up can happen at this point of time. Okay, now Cancer. Cancer ascendants, the transit of Saturn, which is the retrogression motion, is starting in your 8th house, and this is the last leg of the retrogression. See, 8th house, as we know, as it is, Saturn is not a good planet for you. It is 7th and 8th lord, quite difficult with the energy of Saturn. Retrogression of Saturn can obviously put you in a situation that, especially in the what I've seen is a retrograde Saturn, when it afflicts the 3rd drishti of Saturn, 7th also, it's quite difficult to handle the Aries part of it. Because see, though Mars is there in the 10th house now, you tell, see, this is what I've seen. You can comment and tell me, Cancer ascendant especially, Mars being in the Aries, afflicted by Saturn, 10th house things always at this point of time, from beginning of June, can see a delay, and an irritation can build up due to the delays and restrictions. There will be certain distractions when the 10th lord is afflicted by Saturn. And as Mars will move from the 10th to the 11th house, where Jupiter is there, transit is really good, but still Saturn will be in this retrograde motion. It will have an effect on your 7th house, the house before, and also the drishtis of Saturn, the 10th house, the 2nd house, and your 5th house. So these areas will see some kind of slowdown, or some kind of looking back will happen. Now, one thing is great for you, that this is the last leg of retrogression for the Ashtam Shani that you have been facing, especially Cancer Moon. So this leg, if you can pull it off, obviously with Saturn, it is the test of patience, it is the test of your abilities to endure the planet's challenges. If this is the last leg, slowly you move forward. Mars and Jupiter is well placed for you. Actually, though Saturn is aspecting Scorpio, Mars and Jupiter is also aspecting Scorpio. So it's not bad time, but don't jump, because see, Saturn Mars Jupiter combination, it gives a sudden nice feeling happens with these two planets, because they are friends and both are good planets for Cancer. So don't jump into conclusions regarding incoming gains, regarding financial investment, regarding your children, all these matters. Don't jump into it, because after that Mars will go into a 12th house and then on the Lagna getting debilitated. So you never know the effect of planet when it gives backfires, because after Mars is also a malefic. How much Yogacarak it is, a malefic always gives its result in sometimes in a cruel way. Definitely it does. So for you it is not a bad time. It is a slow moving time, and it is a cautious time. Obviously, you know that Ashtam Shani is Saturn getting retrograde. Some delays you can face, but you will have a feel good factor, as the 11th house is loaded with very good planets. And one thing is that on the Lagna you are having Mercury and Venus, and then Sun will also join. So see, Mercury and Venus, it is the 4th lord. It is though it is the 12th lord also, but you'll feel a certain bounce within yourself, because, and a nice thing, you want to put yourselves together, you want to look good, a feeling of a little bit light enjoyment. These things can happen. Emotionally you are feeling good. Sun will also join it, this conjunction of Venus and Mercury. So that is a good arrangement. Just be a little cautious about your health also, because retrograde Saturn can give some at times some health related issues. Saturn does in the 8th house. It does. For longevity is good, but certain issues can come up. For Leo ascendants, Saturn is in a 7th house, is getting retrograde in the month of July, and you have Mars now transiting still in your 9th house. It will go into your 10th house. Now here, see, Leo ascendants is that your Bhagya is having a slowdown because of Saturn's retrogression. Your business and partnership can face some challenges, will face some challenges. If you already have challenge, you have to look deep into it, why it is happening. So get that thing in your mind. See, whenever it comes to partnership, Saturn in Aquarius, it is a retrogression now. Now, if a partnership is going well, with little bit of patience here and there, problem, it can be sorted. But if it is not in a healthy state, Saturn can give certain results also. If you had been trying for separation, certain people are, those who have contacted me, then sudden results you can get. Jupiter and Mars being on the 10th house, now your concentration will go towards that. I'll do a video on that later. And okay, now thing is that the 3 planets which is going into your 12th house is Sun, Mercury and Venus. So your mental health needs attention at this point of time. Why I'm saying is that Saturn is your Leo Lagna. Saturn is aspecting your Lagna with its retrograde motion. Okay, then Sun is in the 12th house till the 16th, 17th of August, the July month mainly. And 2 other planets also there. You can feel too much emotional. You can feel laid back. You may not want to do the work you can procrastinate things. These things are very common when Saturn goes retrograde, and it is giving a lot of responsibility and a lot of push to the Lagna. And Saturn's tick is quite it's not sudden, it's irritable, it piques you. And that is the reason at this point of time Leo Lagna or Moon has to be very careful with their health, with their responsibilities, with their speech, and how, because see, Mars is also afflicting the Lagna. Now see, when Saturn Mars is in the Kendra, Mars will come in the Kendra, right, with Jupiter. Maybe the 10th house will want more attention. Maybe the partner is behaving in a different way. You are having lot of things to handle. So take care of yourself first and foremost, because the main drishti of Saturn on your Lagna is very difficult to handle. You can feel too much delays, patience testing, you're bogged with duties, more responsibilities. These things can happen, but you will carry out these, and wait for the month of July and August. That after mid of August, sun will come on the Lagna. You'll be able to fight it out. Though yes, it will be aspected by Saturn, but still 12th sun is it's like a Maran Karak sthan for the sun. So don't get emotional or don't pile up things. You will feel like that 100%. How much work you have, how much delays if you have no work, you have too much work, whatever it is, you will feel that the conditions are not right for you. But understand that is the thinking of the mind also, as Mercury, Venus and Sun all are in the watery sign. So don't pay too much attention to it. Mars is aspecting your Lagna. Keep up the charge, do some activities, and sweat yourself out and look forward and manifest something good. That will be better. In that way, you have to take up the month of July. Later, I'll do the conjunction of Jupiter and Mars in the 10th house. So take out your time, Leos, and work for yourself, and try to have a better month of July than June. Okay, then Virgo ascendants, Saturn is transiting your 6th house and now retrograde. Now see, Saturn's 6th transit is a good transit actually. But you can feel that too much of regular work is there for you. In the retrograde pattern of Saturn now, as it's starting, some delays in the 6th house matter can be seen. If you are applying for a loan, if you have some problem in the office, if some botheration with your colleagues is there, if daily life is having a problem, now the thing is, at this point of time, you have to sort out the things. Why that is why retrogression of Saturn happens also. That why it is happening, you need to reflect on that. And Saturn is a very high discipline master in the 6th house. Don't avoid the work, because some works can be a redo work, that is there, understood. But that is how Saturn works in the 6th house. That is the pattern how it works. Now Jupiter, this is your 6th house situation. Then Rahu is in your 7th house. Ketu is on the Lagna. That is also there. In your 9th house, you have Jupiter now, and also Mars from your 8th house will go to the 9th house. This, though 9th Mars is also, but still better than the 8th house of Mars and afflicted by Saturn. If you had some issues with your health or any small or big, any kind of injuries happening during this time, you'll recover, as the 9th house is in a better position. If you want to go for distant journeys, you can. But yes, Saturn can bog you with a little bit of, daily life. Things get stuck. It moves and stuck, that kind of a situation with Saturn retrograde in your 6th house. So the 9th house is in a better position now, though Mars is not a good planet anyway for you. But 8th, nonetheless, as I said, better than 8th Mars. 9th Mars is also not very good. That is sure. Then it will go to your 10th house later in Gemini. Now your 11th house is seeing Sun, Venus and Mercury. So your Lagna Lord is in the 11th house now. It is not going to come to the Lagna soon. It will have a transit in Cancer, go to Leo, again come back to Cancer retrograde. And then finally when it reaches Virgo, it will have a conjunction with Ketu also. So these things will happen slowly. As of now, it is it is not a bad time, but I am little concerned with the Mars situation in your horoscope. Saturn situation is not concerning. If you put a regular regime to your work, your schedule, your health things, your co-workers, your, even because it is a fifth lord also. So suppose your children are preparing for exams, they at this time they can feel a little sluggish, not able to meet up with their things. These things, if taken care, then Saturn the sixth is a good transit actually. No way it is bad. It is it gives lot of work, it gives too much of busyness, but it is okay. If you go with this flow, actually it is good for the Saturn retrograde, looking back and then rectifying and coming up. So this is the thing, 11th house is better situated, but be careful of the Mars transit. That is what I feel is important at this point of time, because even Saturn is having an aspect, retrograde Saturn is having an aspect in the 8th house, in the your 12th house, and also because it is retrograde, it will also affect your progeny house. So children can feel a little irritated at this point of time due to whatever reason. If elderly children, due to their certain exams or whatever, if they are young, they can behave in a very in a sluggish way. So that can be an area of concern, but slowly it will go. Have some patience with them, and you will see better days ahead. 6th Saturn is not a problem. It's just disciplinary actions needs to be taken. So have a better time, Virgo, after the 8th Mangal going out from your 8th house. So have a better time. For Libra ascendant, Saturn is getting retrograde in the 5th house. Your children can face some delays and some issues with children, investments, and your loved ones can happen. Because see, 5th house is a very Purva Punya, obviously. It is also a very nice house of dealing with progeny, investments, your luck factor. All these things will see a slowdown. Because as I have interacted with certain Librans who were quite, they were quite nicely moving at a nice pace before the retrogression of Saturn. That thing will definitely has to see a slowdown, as I can put it in that way. Now see, your 10th house will see influx of your Lagna Lord. Venus will be in the 10th house. Mercury will be there with Sun. So their situation can be okay. It can be not, it may not be bad, but maybe if you were expecting something out of the boss, or something, some profit, some increment, some something, whatever is a little bit of which gives a boost to your name, fame, or whatever, in whatever way, that luck can be a little bit trimmed at this point of time, or you have to wait for it to happen. So that is the problem with Saturn retrograde at this point of time. Even mother's health can call for some kind of a checkup, because whenever a planet goes retrograde, it also affects a planet like Saturn. It definitely affects the sign behind it. So it is Capricorn, it is your 4th house, so mother's health also requires some little bit of caution, and that can well be seen. Next is that Jupiter and Mars, it is in Taurus also. So that is your 8th house. Now already you were investing. Now Mars, when it has entered there, some real estate investment can also happen, or you may turn a little more with rigorous. But here, because Saturn is retrograde, have patience, don't rush into it. If you want to do, also do with some systemic investment schemes. Don't rush and suddenly buy something, because 8th house will give sudden events that will be propelled when a planet like Mars has entered over there. But relationships here with the in-laws, even your marital life, can see a little bit of jerk. Mars, whenever it is in the 8th house, you should avoid risk taking, whether it is your health, whether it is your investments or whatever, because it is the suddenness of Mars. The sudden fiery Mars gives, especially if you're having a Mars dasha antardasha, or what, if you're running something like that. So that needs to be checked very much. The Rahu, because see, all the Rahu is also there in the 6th house. So dealing with Rahu and Mars in the two dusthanas is a very important thing. Otherwise, suddenly it can give health issues, some injuries. Your progeny needs care, some understanding. If you are going through, if suppose your children, that kind of a situation, if they're elderly, they have some issues with you, then that needs to be handled very, very carefully, because they are in that state of where they feel quite sluggish at this point of time. Because Saturn being retrograde, it's already a slow planet. Retrogression, getting retrograde, going back, and all these, it even slows down more the planet. So handling of even the loved ones, if you are in a, the marriages can see delay. If you are in a love affair, then that can see certain ups and downs. Some boredom can come in that. Some differences in opinion can come. All these things are part of retrograde Saturn. Because see, whenever Saturn gets retrograde, however good the planets are, that one planet will give some kind of issues with the horoscope. So it is not saying that because 6th house Rahu is there, 8th house Jupiter Mars is there, these and Saturn going retrograde, you have to be careful while taking loans, investments, whatever you gains you are expecting, it may not happen at that moment of time. So things get stuck with these kind of arrangements. So because the space you're running, you can be at a boost of it, but maybe you require to reflect and have some more reflection, waiting, and then moving ahead. That is the time for the month of July. Because 10th house is also having Sun, Mercury, but Mercury will go retrograde, it will go to Leo, it will again come back to, so some rectifications of Mercury will be done, and especially when it is coming and getting retrograde in the 10th house, which I'll talk about in the later video. So definitely some work, because Rahu is also aspecting this Cancer. Whatever these 3 planets in Cancer, Rahu is aspecting them. So Rahu is a troublemaker, as we call it. So these things, that's why it is a very cautious month. The whole approach should be cautious by the Libra people. Scorpio, for Scorpio, Saturn is in the 4th house, Kantakshani, and getting retrograde. The situation in the home can be a bit grumpy. You may feel that people of your own, maybe at your home or your own people may not appreciate you, may not understand you. If you want to invest in real estates, if you want to take a car, things can get delayed. Saturn is aspecting your 6th house. Loans, you may get late. Things are not happening, will not happen at the space you want them to happen. And obviously, those who are in the, they are in a working situation, the 10th house is Leo. Saturn is aspecting a retrograde Saturn aspecting Leo. Sun is in your 9th house and watery sign. Don't get emotionally driven. The attitude of the boss cannot be very good, can be rough, that is natural still at this point of time, because the Mangal is in, obviously it is going into the 7th house. So see, 7th Mangal, the problem with though it is with Jupiter, it is not a good place for Mars to be in. It doesn't feel good in the 7th house. It's not a relationship planet. So maybe you are thinking about your professional area, which is a little bit of up and down or delays or whatever is happening, and maybe your partner is demanding more attention from you, more things, some kind of tussle happens over there. If the relationship is already kind of not in a good position, these things can happen. Because Jupiter was already there in the 7th house, certain marriage proposals, many people in the Scorpio ascendants and moon are going through such phase of marriage. Either it is they're look out for marriage, or they're into newly married or something like that, Mars over here can give a little bit of problem to that area. Understand, Mars, though your Lagna Lord, it can boost up your Lagna, but it is not a relationship planet at all, in no way. So let this pass. But yeah, one thing is there, that Mars again in the 7th house, then it will go to the 8th house and then debilitated in Cancer. Though, so for Scorpio people now, I have to say this, the placement of Mars is not very good. So what does mean is that you have to take care of yourself. You will be given situations, not that those situations do not have a way out. They have, but a lot of patience being required over here. Working on it again and again, thinking about it again and again will give you results, because that is why Saturn is retrograde. Maybe some other backlog work which you were mainly if it is a real estate thing or something, if it was backlog for a long time, sudden get some conclusion, that can happen. Now Mercury will also get retrograde later in your 9th and 10th house, so some paper related things can challenge you at this point of time also. So you have to be careful. Saturn retrograde periods are not easy, in the sense that they test our patience, they test our how we can get along at this point of time, where it is taking more than usual for the work to do, more effort than usual, because we know that retrograde planets have cheshta bal, right? So it is more strengthy. We don't want Saturn to be too much in strength, because then our strength goes away with it. So, but that is the testing of the Saturn, that, and it gives trials and tribulations. The characteristics of the planet is like that. So, and your Lagna Lord is not very comfortably placed. Now with Jupiter, you can get some guidance. It is good. But when it goes to the 8th house later, then also Saturn will be retrograde. So this conjunction is last leg. You have to handle it very carefully. And let this phase go without much of disturbance. And whenever Jupiter, Saturn are retrograde together also, some event has to happen which was a backlog for a long time. So whatever you had started by January, now you will see a little bit of delay in it. Wait for the time to pass. From December again, you'll have a better free flow. November I'll not say, because November also Saturn will take time to come into direct motion and pick up the space. So that will be the last leg of Aquarius. So any delays about the 4th house related matters will be solved by the last leg of this transit from December, January, February, March. So this is the time for redo. But retrograde planets give sudden results also. That is also there. So anything which you had already put in work and you were waiting, certain results can suddenly come in. Sagittarius, the 3rd house transit of Saturn retrograde, and the 3 planets in your 8th house. So if you're putting efforts in things and you're not getting the result now anymore, don't be balked about it. Don't get irritated. 8th house in the watery sign of Cancer, 3 planets are there, especially your Bhagya Lord Sun is there. Your 6th Lord Venus is there, and Mercury, your 10th Lord, is also there, 7th Lord. So I mean, see, it's difficult to say, but it is not a good time. Mars is also joining Jupiter in the 6th house. Mars is your 5th Lord and is your 12th Lord. Now here you can take in for loans. You can have a tough time with the relationship part. Mars can give you loan, but because it is a 12th house Lord also, some extra expenses will creep in. Sometimes you can feel it's quite a lot for you. So those things can happen. Jupiter is there, the Lagna Lord still direct. So the 6th house matters can be primarily important here. And the efforts you're putting, now whether you're putting it in the right direction or not, that you have to check. That is very important. And your relationship with your siblings and neighbors can go with a little bit of, I mean, not the way it was moving, a little different, because retrogression is different. So here I feel that, because see, Mars is now in your Mars is a very important planet, the fifth lord, going into the sixth house. You can fight with Rogan and Shatru, that is a good position, but the fifth house matters are not favored here. Then as it goes into the seventh house, that is also not very good. Then eighth, why I'm saying this, that already Jupiter, your Lagna Lord, is in the sixth house. So you have to be very calculative in what kind of decisions you take. Third house, what kind of initiatives you take, what are the journeys you want to do. Don't waste your money. If you're taking loans, how you'll save it, or how you'll repay it, all these things has to be taken. All these matters will come into focus. Where are you putting the effort? Are you putting it in the right direction? So this is what Saturn, a change can happen. Maybe you are waiting for a change in the third house area, some locality shift, something, suddenly it can happen. Retrograde planets, they redo the things and they suddenly give some results is expected out there. So this is how the retrogression of Saturn will pan out. Not a very it is a little bit of challenge is always there for you. The eighth house accumulation of planets is also putting on some unknown events. If you're having a Mercury, Venus, Sun, Dasha, Antardasha, and Saturn is retrograde, sudden events can happen regarding those areas. So be careful about your health. That is also very important. Put in a regime. This is a good time when Mars comes into the sixth house. It's a good time to put yourself into a regime and don't get in, rough behavior with your colleagues or co-workers. It's not needed. Children should be handled carefully because your fifth house lord is coming into the sixth house. So if they are having examinations or all, they can do well, but you have to have a good relationship with your loved ones. Love matters, your progeny, your all these things will be seen, and also your money, because Saturn retrograde always has an effect on the house before, that is your second house, Capricorn. So money matters will be in focus because Sun, Venus, Mercury is also having a aspect on Capricorn. So Capricorn also comes into focus. So money, loans, initiatives, all these things are the flavor of the month of July. Then it's after Sagittarius, Capricorn. Capricorn, it is the Saturn is now getting retrograde in your second house. See, Saturn, when it is retrograde, it will always affect the house before it. So Lagna is also getting affected. This is the last time that Saturn is after again it will happen 30 years later. It is having an effect on your Lagna and the second house. So I hope that this time you have reflected quite upon yourself and also your money matters. And this was the theme as Saturn started traveling Capricorn, and now it is in the last leg of Aquarius in your second house. Saturn, whenever it is transiting the Lagna, whether retrograde especially, it gives a lot of thinking and overthinking also at times, that what am I doing with the things that is happening. Things regarding yourself or money matters can go for a slowdown. It will. Don't lose hope. This is the time for slowdown. Maybe you had thought that it will go and end up fast, but your Lagna Lord is not that kind of a planet. You have to understand that. It gives a lot of time to think, then again redo the job, so that whatever, because Saturn builds up a base in these areas. It is building up a base for yourself and your monetary things. So it is giving you time, and this time is needed, I suppose. So, but next, the transit of Saturn is good in your third house. But before that, this last leg of Saturn, you have to carry on. You may be, see now, all the planets are in third house. In the beginning of July, it is shifted into your seventh house. So seventh house matters of partnership can come into focus. You have two big planets, Jupiter and Mars, in the fifth house. So here, see, Mars is, though it exalts in Capricorn, but it is your 11th lord and the 4th lord. So with Jupiter, it is okay time. With progeny, you have to spend some time. You have to, have some interactions over there, because there's a lot of energy in the fifth house. But Saturn keeps you busy with yourself. That is the tendency of this retrograde Saturn. It makes you understand that why the delays are happening, what is wrong, what needs to be rectified. See, it is quite a bit of a transit, because any other areas, this is like, if you have a Capricorn moon, it is again like a feeling of Saraswati. Little bit a feeling of Saraswati comes in if you are a Capricorn moon. So this is no time to jump into actions. Not at all. Mars is also aspecting your 8th house, which is Leo. Saturn is aspecting Leo. Keep a very good care of your health. Saturn is, seeing your Lagna also. So health is important, money is important, not getting exasperated is important. Things may seem to be slow, but try to get relief in other things and move at a slower pace. Don't, with Saturn, we cannot keep dates. I wanted to finish it at this time for myself. You cannot say that with Saturn, because it has its own way. Every planet has its own way, but Saturn has a problem due to it's a very slow moving planet. It creates hindrances and pressures due to that. So you have to handle it. This is the last 4 months of retrogression for your Lagna and 2nd house. Then it is a much better transit of Saturn the next year. So do handle it carefully, keep yourself graceful, keep yourself busy, and also take care of your health. Have a good time. Aquarius, Saturn is on the Lagna retrograde. And also Mars and Jupiter is in the 4th house. Your Cancer house is seeing, 3 planets are there in the 6th house. Sun, Mercury, and your Yogakarak planet, Venus. Now, Aquarius, here you can feel very irritated at times with the retrograde Saturn sitting on your head. Very difficult, monotonous, quite patience testing. Lot of things will call for a relook. That will happen. And also you want to, maybe 6th house, you want to take up challenges. You want to do your daily duties fast, but Saturn will not allow you. It is a challenging period, no doubt about it. The energy of Mars, because see, it is having an aspect on your 10th house. Saturn is also having, Mars is also having, but the energy of Mars is not very good in the 4th house due to your own irritations. Some kind of clashes little bit here and there with Jupiter. Mars can happen in the 4th house, because see, the 4th house is having Mars, and also 6th house is having planets, and the Lagna is having a retrograde Saturn. Obviously, you can say, when is the time good? Time immediately, yes, it is not very good at all. First, especially July, August, because and little bit of September. After that, little bit better in that way. Mercury will also get retrograde in between. So 5th lord getting retrograde, Lagna lord getting retrograde. A little haphazard things are there, and it will call for your attention. You maybe wanted to pursue something. You have to again look back whether to do that or do something else, and some other things call for your attention. These things can happen. It is quite a time to handle, no doubt. Cannot be, I cannot sugarcoat it. Things are like that when Saturn is retrograde. It is your Lagna lord by now, and see, it is also another thing is that when Saturn is retrograde, it always reflects on the last sign also. Its character is reflected there. So this is your 12th house. So if you take any sudden decisions, you come under losses. Some undue expenditure, some house renovations can also happen. Loan factors, if you want to go, maybe a little bit of delay can happen, because Mercury will go retrograde. So luck factor is a little down over there. And Cancer Mercury is quite, because water tattva, Jala tattva, it is Sun is also there. So it is a little confusion regarding this area. But keep a track on your health, very important, because health is wealth. Certain areas of your own, because this is the Saturn retrograde on the Lagna means what? Contemplating on your own things, own behavior, own health, how to deal with things, systematic approach, quite a disciplined action. It's difficult, no doubt, but Saturn is a difficult planet. So that is how it will happen. Not a only other than the home front, some events can happen because a lot of energy is there. Not a very excellent month, but okay, you have something to do in the home front, and also all the planets are aspecting your 10th house. So 10th house, again, responsibilities can happen. That can very well happen if you have a Mars dasha or something, Jupiter Mars dasha, or like that. So okay, time for you, go on with it, and have concentration on your health and try to keep your mood a little vibrant. That is very important when Saturn goes retrograde on the Lagna. Pisces ascendant, Saturn goes retrograde in the 12th house, and also it is this retrograde Saturn will always have an effect on the house just before it, that is your 11th house. So stuff of money, if it at all comes during the retrograde period, you can have excess expenditures also. Foreign related things, up down, going here and there, can be on your mind and can see a new focus in this month. Or some things you have to redo. Maybe you applied a visa, you again have to go for renewal, or something like that can happen. Okay. Then is your Jupiter and Mars, your Lagna Lord, and your Bhagya Lord is there in the 3rd house. Initiatives would be good. Distance journeys will be good. Short, long both distances are favored. Mars is good in the 3rd house. Jupiter, it will give a boost to the Lagna Lord. This is a good arrangement actually. So till the end of August, when Mars is already there from the 12th of July in your 3rd house, it will be a better time to handle the sluggish this of Saturn, because Saturn will be quite sluggish in the 12th house. So to handle Saturn, this Mars will help you. You can be feeling energetic. If you are there, do some activity and it will help you out. Then in your 5th house, there are 3 planets, Sun, Mercury and Venus. You can have a nice your progeny can feel great. You can feel great with love affairs, can be good, and these things can be felt well. It is not a bad month for the Pisces ascendant. It is better than many other ascendants. Why? Because see, 12th Saturn, retrograde Saturn is not easy to handle. Certain job breaks can happen suddenly. 12th Saturn gives it always creates that kind of situation where you suddenly become out of touch with things, out of job, out of place, out of work, something like that, because 12th house is seclusion, foreign lands, getting all these things required for the foreign things, all these things. So but still, because the 5th house is well placed now, 3rd house is good placed now, so it is okay. It's not a bad it is not a bad month. At least some good news, some vitality, because 3rd house is a house of vitality. It is a vibrant house, so that gives you a lot of vitality within yourself, and once you are in a better way charged up, it is, and Rahu is there on the Lagna to make you dream big. So dream big, get charged up, and be cautious about the 12th Saturn, because yes, 12th houses of losses, your expenses, sudden losses, traveling towards foreign lands, in foreign lands, some delays regarding paperwork of foreign lands, all these things in between will happen, but you will be able to handle it as far as the month of July is concerned. August we'll see a different trend comes in again. So this is not a bad month. It is okay. Just be cautious about the Saturn that is already retrograde in your 12th house, especially regarding money matters. Otherwise it's good. So this is the whole the topic of Saturn retrograde and the July month. Next I'll come up with I think the Mars and Jupiter transit that will happen very soon. Till then, take good care. Bye bye.